Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap, and today we have yet another topper with us in the success story series, and he is Vivek Bharti, and he has recently cleared RBI Grade B examination. Today we will know about his strategies and his learnings from the examination, which can help the future aspirants. So, hello sir, how are you?
Good, I am fine.
So, congratulations sir for the big achievement.
Thank
And it must feel relaxed, right? Now finally achieving for whatever you desired.
you. Yes, a bit relaxed. Yeah.
Before starting this journey, I would like to ask you about your educational background.
Uh, I have done my BTech from NIT Rourkela in mechanical engineering. Uh, that is my education.
Right. So you did BTech, and then after that, what was your approach? Like you started preparing for examination, or you did work?
No, I worked in Tata Steel for almost 1.5 years, looking after plant operations there. And thereafter, in 2019, I resigned and I started preparing for UPSC, so civil services. Uh, so 2020 was my second mains in civil services, and along with that, after mains, just the RBI notification came, and so then I.
Right. So you cleared this RBI in your first attempt.
Yes, yes.
Right. So we'll understand what strategies you followed for different section. So we'll start with maths. So what was your approach for doing quant and reasoning?
For quant and reasoning, it was like I used to take mock, and in the mock, whichever area I used to score less, that area I did selectively. I practiced those area, and apart from that, I regularly gave mocks to decrease the time, because after all, it is a time against race against time. So like
Right.
uh, you can solve everything, but you have to solve it in a limited time.
In a
So
limited time.
yeah,
Right.
so the main thing was reducing it.
Right, because it happens with many candidates that they know what how to solve, but due to time constraint, they are not able to do to solve all the questions. And one more thing important about mock is that because one gets to have a revision of all the chapters in
Yeah,
only one
simultaneously.
mock. Yeah, simultaneously, and then you just approach for all the chapters which you find you need some practice in. Right. And so then what about the GA portion?
GA portion, I used materials from different institutes. It was not a single institute, 2 to 3 institute combined. And I prefer doing the GA in a MCQ form, like to solve like 200 MCQs or 300 MCQs. That actually helps to retain better. So I used to do that, and I used to make notes using keywords, like 5-6 लाइन का सिर्फ 3-4 कीवर्ड बस खत्म, and
Right.
a very short crisp note so that I could revise it at the last moment, even 1 or 2 hours before the exam. So that short the notes used to be.
Right. Because when we make notes ourselves, we know what those keywords mean. So
Yes,
that would be very helpful during the revision, because then we can cover much of the subject in a lesser time. So this was a your strategy for GA, but I would also like to ask about if we go for static section, or you can say current affairs section. So what in GA itself, what were the different section which you feel like that questions were asked many from that particular section?
Eh, like whatever the government is doing, whether it is policy or schemes or survey or budget, so that becomes very important. And not just the recent one. This year the trend was different. Like I analyzed the trend of the previous year, that is the 2019 exam. Few months of current affairs were asked, but this time the horizon was much broader. It covered almost a years of current affairs. So I was lucky because like the broad current affairs I used to cover from day one. So it wasn't too much difficult for me. But yes, seeing that RBI is also asking from a time frame of 1 year, that was a shock in the examination.
Right. So basically, this time current affairs from 1 year were asked.
Yeah.
So yeah. So means because mostly students they go for maximum 6 months current affair, but we should not take risk. At least 1 year
Yes.
current affairs should be covered.
But
And so,
maximum prioritization should be given to the last 2 to 3 months itself,
all
maximum,
right,
and slowly decrease your priority towards the
to approx
earlier
1 year.
part of current.
Right. And so for English portion, what was your strategy for that?
इंग्लिश में फॉर फेज वन वैसा कुछ स्पेसिफिक नहीं था. आई डिडंट डू एनीथिंग. इट वाज ऑल जो फाउंडेशन था उसी से चले गए एंड इट वाज
Right. Right. So, sir, now for phase two. So, before even talking about the whatever sources you preferred for phase two, I would like to ask that did you started preparing for phase two beforehand only, or you first waited for the phase one result and then you move ahead for the preparation of second phase?
It's like if you're completely new, you won't be able to do phase two in the limited time frame which is required. You have to start early. I was already preparing for civil services, so I had a little base. Apart from that, also because RPI is a bit different, it's not exactly same as UPSC, so it helps UPSC preparation. It's not completely through the RBI exam. So,
Right.
like I did something before also. 10 days might be during the pre time, and afterwards within the pre and mains time frame I did almost all my
Right. Because UPSC, they have a different set, they have a different pattern as well as syllabus. And for RBI also, it is different. Some of the things that can be common can be that in both examination, descriptive writing is
yeah
important,
yeah
right?
yeah
So that helped you. But apart from that, for RBI, you had to prepare separately for all the topics.
yeah ask us something different sort of question.
Right. So for ESI, what
Yeah.
was your strategy?
For ESI, like it depended on PYQ. For example, in the subjective section, RBI already had conducted its subjective papers before 2016. So I collected all those questions of whatever RBI had asked earlier, as well as UPSC previous year questions from economics, and I wrote them. I literally wrote them, and after that, I wrote a few questions from the budget survey, and in that way, I prepared the questions, and I took the help of various institutes as well, like institutes like who already gave compiled questions and answers. So.
Right.
Combining that, I had a good set of 60 to 70 questions, and I read them, revised them, and that was it.
Right.
And for in general for ESI, like for social issues also, like mainly in social issues, we have societal issues, women issues. So 1 page note on each topic will be sufficient.
Right. Like some of the general topics that we know that they can come or we can somehow use them in our answers that we
Yes.
should practice before going to the examination. Right. And so for FM part,
Finance part was like whatever I covered in economics. So most of them separately, finance and economics, almost they were similar. For finance, there are some technical sections like calculating bond yield and all the numericals which are there, yield to maturity and all those parts. So those part I just covered basic part, because RBI generally doesn't ask so many numerical. Even if it asks, it will ask 1, 2. That calculated risk I took, and
it worked for
luckily
you.
RBI didn't even ask.
Right. So sir, did you prefer any books for preparing for ESI or FM?
Economics, like not particularly books, whatever the syllabus was, I used to pick up the topics of the syllabus, and from there itself I did it from different sources. So not a
Alright.
particular book.
Right. So
It was
you
a
did not.
combination of
Yes.
coaching material plus current affairs, whatever it is.
Yes, sir. So you did not prefer for any particular source or whatever they are providing. You rather went for the syllabus,
Yeah.
and you searched particular topics and you covered them from different sources.
Yes.
All right. And so for in fact English part also for the descriptive portion.
English part, like for descriptive portion, I wrote 2 or 3 Prezi, because Prezi I wrote back in class 10. So I forgot. So I wrote 2 to 3 Prezi, and just I did brainstorming of 10 to 12 essay topics. I didn't write. I just brainstormed in my brain that what I'll write, and that's it.
Right.
For English, I didn't do.
So, sir, for English, both for phase 1 and phase 2, what do you feel like that it has some, it was of higher level, or it was in general questions that can be answered by an average student?
It can be answered, I believe, by an average student if he has a average hold on English, and he has been throughout his education has been in English medium. I don't think it is a much challenging section, at least in phase 1. For phase 2, you have to, like, if you haven't written an essay, like I was preparing for civil services and my essays were good. So I was confident, so I just didn't write many essays. But otherwise, essay needs practice, I'll say. Essay needs practice. And real, so I don't think that much is required there.
Right. So, sir, this was about what the sources that you preferred for examination. But now let's come to how to structure an answer, because that is something that many candidates they struggle to do. So, sir, what do you suggest them that how to structure a proper answer and how to make it better?
Structuring an answer is like, first of all, a question sometimes is not a single question. There are part questions. So, like, if there are two parts of question, if there is something, you have something to analyze. So don't just write the definition in 3 lines and 4 lines and move on to the second part, because if there are two parts, they carry equal marks. You have to
Right.
assume that they carry equal marks. So first thing is that is very important. Second is you will have to give a short intro. Try to give a context of the question, that why that question was asked. That makes a good intro, or otherwise you can introduce it in many ways, other ways. And after that, body. So in body part, like what I used to do is I used to keep it objective, point wise. I didn't prefer writing in paragraphs, because somewhere the momentum is lost in writing paragraph. And writing in points increases the visibility of the answer as well.
Right.
So I prefer writing point wise. Like whatever was asked in the question, mention that in the answer, make a subheading, and write खटाखट 5 to 10 points, whatever you know, ताकि
Right.
विजिबिलिटी रहे, एग्जामिनर को देख के ही लग जाए कि हाँ ये पार्ट का आंसर यहाँ, ये पार्ट का आंसर है, ये पार्ट का आंसर है यहाँ.
Right.
And after that, conclude using anything you can conclude using sustainable development goals, or using economic survey, by quoting Niti Aayog.
Right.
Whatever, by quoting a genuine source, you can conclude, or you can conclude by giving a solution as well, if solution is not specifically asked in the question.
Right. Right. So, sir, usually when we write a particular or any aspirant or candidate, when they write the answer, they focus more on the static part. For example, whatever static knowledge they have about that particular topic. What are your views on that? Should the current portion, as you gave example of Niti Aayog and other names, so
Yeah.
sir, what weightage of that should be in it? That it must be more of current affairs rather than being static, or just more static and a few examples?
What I feel that the base should be made of static itself, and the current helps you in giving examples, in quoting few things. So that is how current can help. But just filling the answer by current, I don't think it is valuable. Like you'll have to write the static part, and you have to substantiate it by using the current affairs, whatever is happening. And if the question is specifically of current affairs, then obviously you'll have to write
Yes.
full current. But there also try to include some static concepts,
Static,
because
right.
the examiners, they are in their 50s or 55s, I think. And they prefer, I feel that they prefer this kind of, if you introduce something, if you introduce a concept, so they like, I feel that way. It may be different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you say that if more than one question has been asked in the particular question, then we should give introduction of everything, not only just for one part, but yes, every part we just have a slight introduction, right?
No, intro can be one thing itself, the broad framework of question, but while address each question separately,
Right.
and give them equal weightage while answering. Like
Right.
if a definition is asked, don't just define in 3 lines and move on, because if definition is one part of a question, assume that it carries 5 marks out of 10 marks and the other
Right.
part carries 5 marks out of 10 marks. If you
Right.
are just writing 2 to 3 lines, then I think you will be awarded just 1 or 2 marks for that, and for the second part you will be awarded because nothing is mentioned there. So you have to assume that every part carries equal.
Equal marks. Right.
I
So
used
we,
to do that mistake, and that is why
right, but then you learn from it.
yeah.
That every part, even though no matter how short that it looks like, for
Yeah.
example, if definition, it just look like you just have to define that thing,
Yeah.
but it carries half of the marks, or whatever percentage it is of the question. Right. So sir, this was all about the written portion of the process. So now comes to the interview. So sir, there are two school of thoughts in the market. One says that the interviewer, they are quite friendly and they are quite chill and they motivate you. And the other school of thought, they say that the panel is kind of straight face and they seems like they're not interested. They may grill. So what your experience say about that? What kind of panel did you face, and what was the experience like?
I faced, in my case, I faced a cordial panel. Like there was no grilling as well as there was no motivating also. It was like usual affair for them. And what I believe, it is very dicey. It can be any of the thing for you. So that he will grill me or he will motivate me. Just like it is, go there and whatever the situation is, accordingly act. Like even if they're grilling, know that they are grilling. So I have to remain calm, and whatever they ask, I have to answer calmly. And if they are motivating, then don't start blushing for the interview and all.
Right.
So that is like whatever they are doing, you be yourself. It can be either of the ways, because it is again, interview is something like in every exam, interview is a bit dicey section. There is always a luck. That factor doesn't go away.
Right.
You can be prepared, and that preparation is very important, but again, a bit of that becomes luck.
Great. So, sir, most of the question, were they from your educational background and your job, or something was technical was also asked in the examination that was related to RBI or whatever subjects that is in part one or phase one or phase two?
Okay, like interview can be broken into three parts. First is the HR section, all the HR related questions. Second part can be related to the organization in which you are appearing in this case RBI. And the third part is about current affairs. So I was asked question from all the three parts, and the question revolved around the biodata itself. So this is to be really understood that when you're filling the very careful about the biodata, what you are filling, you should know that thoroughly. And if you're not knowing it thoroughly, you have put it in your biodata, then within that time frame, prepare very well for that portion. Yeah,
Right.
because they will consider that biodata your base, and then they will ask. For me, it was the case, and for most of the aspirants, I believe that was the case.
Right. So biodata, it should be written carefully while filling
Yeah,
that particular form, because most of the question that revolve from it only. And person, he should be well aware of what he has written and whatever things that he has written. Right, sir?
yes, yes. And for interview, like you have to interview is really very important. Like I really worked very hard for the interview. In fact, more than phase one and phase two, I worked for the interview. Like because uh, mm, phase one and phase two are in your control, but for
Interview something random.
random. But
Right.
if you want, you can take it under your control. That is also, if you prepare very widely, like you think on, go on into deep and deep and deep, and try to frame as many questions as possible and write the answers yourself.
Right.
Once you start writing, then you will understand that what I have written, what is my thought process. And after that, even if a random question comes, you can cook up an answer from that 10, 20 odd questions you have written. I almost
Right.
prepared more than 100 questions for the interview also. So The
Okay,
interview
and
also
you,
requires a lot of hard work.
yeah, so and you made all the question based on your biodata only.
Yeah, based on my biodata.
Right. So, sir, did you go for any mock interviews that most
Yes, I
candidates
took
nowadays prefer?
EduTap itself.
All right. And so, do you think that mock interviews are beneficial, or we can go without them? Like just a general question
No,
about
they
that.
are beneficial because you have to break the ice, right? So
Right.
it helps you in breaking the ice. It points out what difficulties you are facing. Like until and unless you speak, it's very important to speak between esteemed panels. It is very important to वो डर चला जाना चाहिए मन से.
Right. Right.
So that mock interviews mock interviews like ex RBI, CGM comes, GM comes. So that actually provides you a very good platform to even discuss your doubts. Like I discussed my doubts with the panel members which EduTap brought. Like I literally said them that should I say this in the interview? Should I say this in the interview? Whether this answer will be good or this answer will be good.
Right.
And so they were very generous enough to guide me in that.
Right. So that really helped you in a way, because now you know that how should you say something, because whatever you are saying, that is your own personality, but how to convey the thing, that is really important.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. So Mr. Vivek says that for phase one, especially for numerical and reasoning part, he did much of the mock test to have simultaneous revision of every chapter, and more than focusing on the chapters, he focused on the time management. He tried to do all the question in the lesser time as possible, because it is what it is the race against time. And for GA also, he went for most of the MCQs that he can go. He go for 300, 400 MCQs, and he preferred different sources. How he approached GA, basically uh, he looked at the syllabus, he looked at the topic, and then he searched for different sources. And for English, he didn't feel like that much of the efforts were required, or the preparation was required. And he says that for phase one and phase two, if some person he has been studying English all his life, he can do it without much of the efforts given. And for phase two, he says for ESI, what he did, he covered the in general topics. For FMESI, uh, he collected PYQs of UPSC also, and of RBI also, because before 2016 this pattern has before. So he collected all those questions, and then he just wrote the answers. He collected approx 60-70 questions related to these subjects. And because if directly those questions won't come, but something that is related to that, or maybe the answers, it can be reframed in a certain way in the answer that was given in the examination. So that really helped him a lot. And for English, he again says that if someone is from English medium, they would not have to do much of the practice for English. And for interview, he says be careful while writing the biodata, because everything that revolves around your biodata only. So you should know that what you have written, if even if you have written some hobbies or anything, you should be aware properly of all the things. So what his strategy was, he just wrote down whatever questions he can get. He just wrote one question, he answered that, and whatever question that can be made framed from that answer, he wrote those questions, and he keep on analyzing deeper and deeper about that particular thing or the topic that he has written, to have a broader view, so that he can answer all the questions in the interview. And he says that interview plays a major role, so one should not forget to prepare for interview while preparing for phase one and phase two. So am I missing anything?
No, it was all done.
Right. So something, the last thing that you want to say to all the aspirants who are preparing for RBI?
Mm, don't keep all your eggs in a single basket, uh, because these are competitive exams. But whatever you prepare doesn't go waste. Somewhere or the other, you will get result. So simultaneously appear for different examinations. That's what I would like to say.
Right. So it says your hard work will never go in waste. And you just, even if you have a aim, but you should realize that these are competitive examinations, so you should simultaneously appear on different examination as well, which may not be your the ultimate goal that you were preparing for, but that would be more or less similar to where you always see yourself. So thank you very much, sir, for joining with us, for sharing your views and experience with us. And I'm sure that it will help the aspirants to prepare better.